So, dear students, so today our topic is Introduction to Clinical Chemistry. Chemistry, if it is related to the data from the living organisms, then it is the clinical chemistry. Okay, so in the clinical chemistry, we study regarding the basically the composition of the cell or compositions of the body fluids. Okay, suppose so in the cell, what is present? For good example, cell will be having the two environment. One is the external environment and another is the internal environment. So inside the plasma membranes are simply the external environment and internal environment, they are separated by the membrane, that was the plasma membranes. So what are the environment inside the plasma membrane? That is the internal environment, and outside that is the external environment. You should be keep in your minds. And in the resting conditions, basically, okay, in the resting conditions inside the potassium is more, remaining also present. Sodium, water, calcium, okay, so many enzymes, hormones, proteins, waste material, they are also present, but basically basic thing is there. So inside the potassium is more and outside the sodium is more in the resting. So when cell do not do any work, okay, so when the cell will be start to work, okay, so here another question is, so when the cell will be start to work, okay, so when it can got the direction from the neighboring cell with the help of the communication, or from the in the form of the hormones, or what are the blood or fluid which was nourishes the cell, or it is present around the cell. If any changes in that fluid, it is create the stimuli to that cell. According to that changes, cell can clean the, that is the external environment, are involved in the to stabilize the external that environment. Okay, for example, once again the glucose level is increases in the external environment outside the cell, okay, then automatically cell, it can involved in the metabolism of glucose. Okay, it is involved in the metabolism of glucose, then like that the glucose can be metabolized and produce the ATP. So due to that, it was helpful for to normalize the blood sugar level. Or simply the stimuli in the form of insulin, it was reaches to the cell of the organ and it can give the signal to the cell, then only the glut receptors are open. Glut are the certain channels or receptors, so they are present in each and every cell, through which only the glucose can enter. That's insulin bind to the glut receptor, open it, then glucose can enter. So this is normal. So like that, in the normal conditions, inside potassium is more, outside sodium is more. So when it is need to do the some function, so that environment was changes, sodium enter inside, potassium exist outside. So then the sodium is high inside as compared to the outside, so that indicates the cell will be the involved in the metabolic reaction. This entire study, that is comes under the clinical chemistry. And also how much sodium is present in the extracellular fluid, how much potassium is present in the extracellular fluid, that is also comes under the clinical chemistry. Okay, for example, if the blood pressure increases, so when the doctors, they are subjected to the electrolyte ratio in the plasma or blood, so they want to know the how much sodium is present, how much potassium is present, how much calcium is present. Simply basically they know the many things, but here we can discuss only basically. So they are basically, they know how much sodium, how much calcium, how much potassium is present. If it is normal, they, whereas compared to the standard values already you do in the assignment 1, so that is you having some reference values that are normal range. Okay, so if it is beyond that, it is the normal range, it means, so these basic three factors are not involved in the that particular type of disease, because potassium, is required for the relaxations of the cell. Okay, it can keep the relaxed to the cell. If the potassium level is increases mean, then also the cell was fail. That was known as the necrosis. Okay, potassium is not the beneficial that much. If it is more, then also it was responsible for to cause of the cell death or cell necrosis. If the cell death means that particular part was damaged or malfunction, whatever disease are there, so that was related to the increase the level of potassium, or if that is decrease means that was related to the decrease the level of the potassium. If the sodium is increased means that increased blood pressure, the risk factor is sodium. Okay, or calcium level is decreased means whatever the heart attack is occurs, cardiac congestive failure is occurs, CHF, that is due to lack of the calcium. So like that, the basic knowledge regarding the compositions of the cell environment, so that comes under the study of clinical chemistry, and that clinical chemistry is helpful for the medical professionals including you peoples for the diagnosis of the disease or the diagnosis of the risk factor. So diagnosis of disease is not that much value to achieve in the therapy. Okay, once you diagnosis, so that candidate having the high, that is a high blood pressure, it is not that much the achievement in the case of the to give the good therapy. Okay, so because many factors are involved already from the endocrine systems, you are learn, so how the various hormone they can reflect are responsible for to cause of the diabetes mellitus. Many cases due to increase in the growth, that growth hormone responsible to cause of the diabetes mellitus, or increase the thyroid hormones, that was also participate in the cause of the hypertension or to cause of the diabetes mellitus. Even they increase the ratio of the glucocorticoids in response to the stress. Every people, especially in the those are living in the cities or metro cities, they are having the stressful life. Definitely in their body, the glucocorticoids, that is the stress hormone or stress relief hormone, that was releases. Then definitely the glucose level was increases. Then they can go for the to visit the doctors, they can monitor the glucose level means they can confirm you are suffering for diabetes mellitus, then they give the medication. But the risk factor for correct diabetes is that is the glucocorticoid, that is the stress. If you are controlling the stress means automatically you can achieve in the therapy within shorter period, he is free from the diabetes mellitus even. Okay, so that risk factor diagnosis is the mandatory for to achieve in the therapy or to give the therapy with the quality of life, or also to give the certain quality to the whatever drug you are choose for that particular disease. So that was only possible so with the help of the clinical chemistry. So that's why the clinical chemistry having a huge scope regarding the management of the diseases or management of the disorder, especially the metabolic disorder that was diagnosis are identified with the help of the clinical chemistry. So first we can go for regarding the definition of clinical chemistry. It is the systemic study of biochemical process associated with the health and disease. That nothing but what are the biochemical process, so they are related to the normal physiology or as well as abnormal physiology. If you have the knowledge regarding the normal glycolysis and abnormal glycolysis, normal urea cycle and abnormal urea cycle, so like that whatever the biochemical process is occurs in our body, if you having the knowledge regarding the normal physiology or normal cycle and as abnormal, then only you are ready to find out the disease. Okay, with the help of so enzymes are involved in the metabolism of proteins, metabolism of lipids, or metabolism of the carbohydrates. If you're targeting the diagnosis of that enzyme means you can got the clue due to lack of metabolism of glucose, that glucose level was increases. Okay, so that's why the clinical chemistry is the systemic study of biochemical process associated with the health and disease, and also the measurement of the constituents in a body fluids or tissues are to facilitate the diagnosis of disease. So clinical chemistry, it is mainly concerned with the measurement of the constituents in the body fluids regarding the electrolytes, regarding the enzymes, regarding the hormones. Okay, estimations of those levels in our plasma, our body fluid, that was helpful for the diagnosis of disease. Even the study of the tissues, that is the pathology. Okay, with the help of the pathology lab, we can study the tissues. That is also helpful for the diagnosis of disease. For in the case now, presently, the mycomycosis, that is the black fungal infection. Okay, that macromycosis or mycosis, it was diagnosis with the help of that particular tissues is subjected to the pathology study. Then only they are confirmed whether it is a fungal infection or that is a black fungal infection or any other. So that tissues from the patient they can taken out in the human beings, like the live human beings, if they're having the doubt regarding the fungal infection, so that part, so doctor they can take out and subject it to the pathology lab, so where they are studied, then they can confirm, so it is actually black fungus. So then the doctors, whatever the black part is there, so that part was removed. Okay, so like that, the study of the tissues, its environments, changes, it was helpful for the diagnosis of disease. Even the study of tissues was helpful for to note down the cancers, diagnosis of the cancer. So that's why the clinical chemistry is helpful for the diagnosis of disease. And here students, the clinical chemistry is also known as the clinical biochemistry because it is related to the study of the biomolecule from the plasma or data from the human beings. So that's why, so it is also known as the clinical chemistry, biochemistry, then as well as chemical pathology, because with the help they can study the tissues and organs environment. Okay, as well as the body sites, which is also known as the chemical pathology. And also it was known as the medical biochemistry. It was helpful for the diagnosis of disease or helpful for diagnosis of the normal physiology and abnormal physiology. So that's why the clinical chemistry is also known as a medical biochemistry. It was helpful for to give the or to select the appropriate drug or therapy. Okay, that was concerned to the clinical chemistry. So due to that reason only it is also known as a medical biochemistry. Even it is known as the pure blood chemistry because it is the helpful for to note down the or to calculate the compositions of the blood. So that normal composition was helpful for once again the diagnosis of the disease. So here the clinical biochemistry is the area of pathology that is generally concerned with the analysis of the body fluids. So that is related to the clinical biochemistry. So regarding the scope of clinical chemistry, it is having the huge scope, the clinical chemistry. So it was having the scope in biochemistry, that is nothing but it is helpful for to study of the biochemical reactions. So that study of biochemical process in our body, so that was once again helpful for the diagnosis of disease, helpful for the diagnosis of risk, and helpful for to note down the scenario of the therapy, whatever therapy given, so that therapy was control the disease or not, or that therapy it is inhibit the progressions of disease or not, or that therapy is also helpful for to note down the whether the patients are recovery from that therapy or not. So that is also concluded, so with the help of the clinical chemistry or biochemistry. So before therapy, so you will know the what risk factor and how that risk factor can identify with the help of the which component. Then after therapy, once again you can monitor the those factor only. If those factor range is normal as compared to the before start of therapy, then it is indicate that whatever drug you are administered, so that drug is successfully it can inhibit the growth and progression of the disease, or it can indicate the patient was recovery from the that particular conditions. Here example is that is the uh, estimations of the C dimer. So C dimer is a protein. So in the COVID-19 patient due to breakage of the blood vessels that can occur the internal hemorrhage. So where the C dimer protein level was increases. Okay. So when you're subjected to the biochemistry or clinical biochemistry, we can know the C dimer level was increases. Then the doctor confirmed it is a serious COVID-19 patient. So then the patient is the isolated or kept in the ICU. Okay, they give the therapy, but patient is unconscious. Okay, so we are unable to ask the question whether you are free from disease or not, or we do not conclude what will be happens, or we do not the judge so whether the any conditions is changes due to therapy or not inside the body. So where once again you go for another, or you give the treatment after 1 month treatment, whatever the schedules is there. So after that, once again you can monitor the C dimer level. If it is decreases, if it is normalized, then indicates whatever you are given the therapy, so that can reverse the disease. Okay, that can achieve in the success, then there is a helpful for to relieve the patient from the ICU. So like that, the clinical chemistry, it will be having the scope in the biochemistry and helpful for the to know the scenario therapy or regarding diagnosis of disease. And the clinical chemistry is also helpful for the instrumentation development. So nowadays many instruments are came in the markets for the helpful for diagnosis of the disease. Once again, the example is a PCR, polymer chain reaction instrument. It is the cost for more than 1 crores. Okay, so that PCR, how it is made? So on the basis of the clinical chemistry, that is regarding the DNA and RNA replication. So on that process, the PCR instrumentations can be developed. So how the DNA can be multiplied, what enzymes are involved. So like that they made the instrument, so they can multiply the DNA from the patients. Then those DNA, multiplied DNA, was subjected to the diagnosis of disease and as well as subjected to the development of the vaccines. So that's why the clinical chemistry is also helpful for the instrumentation or development of the new instrumentations. Okay, once again, for example, the development of the glucometer, development of the BP apparatus. So these are all on the basis of the clinical chemistry. The clinical chemistry can give the idea regarding the how much sugar level is the normal. Okay, then also it can give the regarding the what is the abnormal sugar level. That all our diagnosis with the help of clinical chemistry. So that was encoded, that was counted in the code form, that code was inserted in the instrumentation, and instrumentation can be helpful for the diagnosis of the blood sugar level. So like that, the clinical chemistry is also helpful for the development of the new instrumentation for the diagnosis of the various abnormal conditions. And the clinical chemistry is also helpful, have the scope in the area of the endocrinology. So that is the study of the hormones level in the body, because the hormones concentration in our plasma, that was reflects on our normal physiology. Once again, the good example, the case of the infertility. Simple, if you are subject to testosterone level in the male or estrogen position level in the female, then you can got idea what is the reason for the infertility. Okay, so who is responsible for infertility? Either that is the husband or the wife. So that was with the help of clinical chemistry. So that is also helpful for the to study of the hormones level. That was helpful for to find out the risk factors or diagnosis of the disease. And the clinical chemistry is also helpful for the analytical chemistry. That is the development of the methods for estimations of particular biomolecule. Because with the help of the clinical chemistry, we note down the molecule responsible for that disease. Okay, then also we can calculate the or determine the structure for that molecule. Then with the help of that clinical chemistry, we can develop the diagnostic test for that particular disease. For once again, the Pune madam, so she was developed the one kit for diagnosis of the COVID-19. So on that basis of the clinical chemistry knowledge only, so that's why the clinical chemistry also having the huge scope in the case of the analytical chemistry. And also clinical chemistry, so that was having the scope in the toxicology study, the toxicology study in the body. what stocks level of the toxicant if enter they cause the disease or not, or cause the death or not. That was also concluded with the help of clinical chemistry. And also it is helpful for the study of the immunology related to the immunity, how the immunity was depend, who is responsible to develop the immunity, who is responsible to decrease the immunity. That is also can studied with the help of the clinical chemistry. Or also in the case of the pharmacology. Okay, so that is the development of drug, or to find out the target for the drug, or whether the drug is treat the disease or not, or drug cause the ADR or not. That is also signified or concluded. So with the help of the clinical chemistry, even the clinical chemistry is helpful for the case of the computers. The development of the new instrumentations or softwares or computers that was reflects helpful for the diagnosis of disease. So that is it is the these are the various scope of the clinical chemistry. Now we can go for regarding the cell. So already you know the cell. So their organelles. So how the organelles are present, they have unique functions like mitochondria, it is the power of cell. Then the microtubules to the helpful for the cell movement during the cell divisions, like microfilament is also it maintains strength and motility of the cell. Then lysosome, it is helpful for the digestions of the waste materials. Then smooth and rough endoplasmic, so they involved in the detoxifications, or form ribosomes with rough endoplasmic reticulum, so they involved in the process already was studied in the uh, in human anatomy and physiology. So that's why now I am not explain here more. So now we can go for regarding the general compositions of cell. So cell mainly consists of chemical compound, that is the carbohydrates like CHO. So they are made for the required for the formations of carbohydrates. And the carbohydrates, so they are mainly categorized into monosaccharide, disaccharide and polysaccharide. And these carbohydrates, so their main importance, its function is they are the source of energy. So dear students, so 1 gram of carbohydrates, it can use the 17 kilojoule energy. Okay, so 1 gram of the carbohydrates, it can use the around and roughly 17 kilojoule of energy. So that energy is helpful for to nourish the human body, or it is required for the regular biochemical process or regular functions. Okay, and carbohydrates, so we are mainly required starch from the plant cells, and we can that also cellulose, it is a constitution of cell wall. And also the source of the carbohydrates is a glycogen, so that excess of glycogen is stored in the animal in our livers. Okay, excess of glucose, it was stored in the form of the glycogen. So the carbohydrates, the primary importance of the carbohydrates is it is a primary source of energy. Okay, it can use the ATP. So next one is the regarding the proteins. So the proteins are made from the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, phosphate, nitrogen and sulfate. So these proteins are they mainly classified into primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary. And once again, so proteins they are made with the amino acids. So these amino acids they are classified as essential amino acids and as well as the non-essential amino acids. So regarding the importance, the proteins are helpful for the build up the body or to build up the new cells. So new cell, so they are formed by the only the proteins. The protein is helpful for the formations of the daughter cells or new cells. And proteins is also helpful for to renew the damaged tissue, that is repairing process of the tissues or plasma membrane. So that was done with the help of the proteins or plasma proteins. Okay, and also the proteins, so they are helpful for the synthesis of the enzymes, antibodies, hormones. And also proteins, so they are play an important role in the formations of the components of the plasma membranes. And the life of the cell, that was depending upon the plasma membrane, and the strength of the plasma membrane, that was mainly depending upon the presence of the proteins. So that's why the proteins, it's play an important role to maintain the integrity of the plasma membranes. And proteins is also required for the biosynthesis of the hemoglobin. It means the proteins they are also involved in the transports of the oxygen by involving in the formations or synthesis of the hemoglobin. So next one, that is the lipid. So the lipids they are made of the basic molecule or chemical molecules like a carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. The lipids are mainly categorized as a fat and oil, wax, phospholipids and steroids. So lipids, whatever present in our environment or body, so they are mainly categorized as two, that is saturated and unsaturated. So regarding the importance, the lipid, so they are the source of energy. So after the carbohydrates, the lipid in the normal physiology, so they are acts as a store house for energy or source for the energy. So dear students, so 1 gram of the lipids, so that was give around, that is 38 kilojoule of energy. So carbohydrates, it gives only 17 kilojoule, but the lipids, the 1 gram of the lipids, it can use the 38 kilojoules of the energy. So that energy is required for the protein synthesis or normal maintain the health of the body, or it is known as the organs or cells. So dear students, so whatever the lipids, so they are present on the skin, okay, are present in the adipose tissues. So those adipose tissues, so they are protect our body, so they are acts as the insulators, so they can protect the organ from the overheating during the stress. So that's the lipid, so they are acts as the insulators and as well as to protect the underlying organs or protect the body due to presence of skin. So skin is also consist of the rich of the adipose layer. So those adipose layers are consist of the lipids. So that's why the lipids is also involved in the productions of the body. And lipids is also a part of the plasma membrane. So that's why the integrity or strength of the plasma membrane, that is also depending upon the lipids, or whatever the that is the lipophilic natures of plasma membrane is there, that is due to only presence of lipid. It means the plasma membranes, it only allow the fat soluble substance, not a water soluble substance, because of the presence of the lipid. So that's why the lipid is play an important role in the penetration, entry and exit of the substance from internal environment to the external environment of the cell, or external environment into the internal environment of the cells. So lipids is also play an important role in the synthesis of the steroidal hormones like mineralocorticoids, glucocorticoid, estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, because all are the synthesized from the cholesterol. So that's why the lipids, they are play an important role in the biosynthesis of the steroidal hormones or steroidal drug. So next, regarding the water, so water, so cell, it consists of 90 to 99% of the water. Okay, so that water, it is helpful for the regulations of various biochemical reactions where the water is required for the process of the hydrolysis. Then as well as the water is acts as the transport media for transports of the various cellular components or various micronutrients. And water in the internal environment or external environment of the cell, that was helpful for to maintain the osmotic balance. And the water is also support the structure of the cell, it can prevent the dearrangement of the cell environment. Okay, water is also helpful for to maintain the body temperature, and in some cases the water is acts as the lubrication in the case of the digestions of the food, so where the water is acts as the lubricants. So next main components are cell components, so they are present in a cell, that was the nucleic acid, that is the, it is made from the carbon, hydrogen, that is oxygen, phosphate and nitrogen. So the nucleic acids are mainly are the helpful for formations of nucleotides. The nucleotides are the DNA and RNA, and DNA RNA, so they play an important role in the synthesis of the proteins, and as well as, so they are play an important role in the store of the genetic information, and also they can transport the genetic information, genetic factors from one offspring to the another, or from one generation to the another generation. So this is the regarding the basic chemical compositions of the cell, and study of these compositions of cell, that was helpful for the to diagnosis of disease regarding the chemical chemistry. And also it consists of the enzymes. Okay, so it is the also consist of enzymes. So enzymes are made from the proteins. Okay, so study of those enzymes is the helpful for the diagnosis of disease, and as well as to know down the mechanism of the drug. So next one, so regarding the malfunctions of cell, So the malfunctions of cell is caused by one of the following factor, that was the destruction by trauma by invasive agent. So due to any entry of the chemical agent that can destruct the cell environment or cause the trauma. So that due to that it can cause the malfunctions of cell. There is genetic deficiency of the vital enzyme. Any deficiency of enzyme, that is also reason for the malfunction cell, or insufficient supply one or more essential nutrition, that is also reason for malfunction cell. Then insufficient of blood supply, insufficient of oxygen supply, that is also the reason for to cause of the malfunctions of cell. Then malignancy, accumulations of waste products, that is the failure of control of system and defect in the cellular recognitions of the certain signals. So these are the reason for to cause of the malfunctions of cells. So now regarding the diseases, so that was causes due to malfunctions of cell organelles. The first condition is known as the Tay-Sachs disease. So it is related to the that is a malfunctions of the cell organelle like lysosome. Any problem in the lysosome, then the person was suffering from the one abnormal condition. So that condition was known as the Tay-Sachs disease. So and here you already know the lysosomes, so they are play an important role in the breakdown of the internal organelles. So they are damaged, so they are aged. So those all internal organelle cell, so they are metabolized by the lysosome. If the lysosomes are not present, it is under the malfunction. Then so the various cell organelles they are accumulated. Then can enhance the create the problem in the normal functions of cell. So that condition is responsible for to cause of the Tay-Sachs disease. So where the there is a ganglioside was accumulated. So due to that, it is especially accumulated in the nerve cell. It can cause the abnormality in the nerve cell. There are the nerve cells or neuron. Then the infant becomes irritable. Then as well as he is suffering from seizures and blindness, deafness and paralysis as well as. Then another condition that is known as the adrenal leukodystrophy is which is related to the malfunctions of peroxisome. So already know the peroxisome is consist of the digestive enzyme. So those enzymes it is helpful for the breakdown of the toxic substance, especially there is H2O2. So due to malfunctions of peroxisomes, the H2O2 cannot be metabolized or free radicals cannot be metabolized. So due to that the person was suffering from the one disease that was known as the adrenoleukodystrophy. So where that is the withdrawal or aggression is present, poor memory is present, or poor school performance is occurs in children, or progressive stiffness, weakness, paralysis of the lower limbs, ataxia is the seen in the adults. So these are the conditions symptoms occur due to paroxysms dysfunctions or malfunctions. So next regarding the mitochondrial disease or mitochondria, already you know regarding the functions of mitochondria. So mitochondria play an important role in the generations of ATP or stores of ATP as well as the regulations of the calcium. So due to mitochondrial dysfunction, that candidate was suffering from the mitochondrial disease, so where it can affect the CNS, cause a various CNS disorder. It can affect the liver, cause liver disorder. Even it can affect the ear, eye, kidney, heart, JT, and endocrine. So due to that, he is suffering from the various disorder that was related to the mitochondrial dysfunction. So that's why the diabetes mellitus is also that was one of the metabolic disorder related to the mitochondrial dysfunctions. So next one is the achondrogenesis. It is the malfunction due to Golgi apparatus. Already you know the Golgi apparatus. It is involved in the packaging of the proteins or packaging of the enzymes and packaging of hormones. And due to malfunctions of Golgi apparatus, the hormones cannot be normalized. Other abnormalities occurs in the to maintain the hormone level and protein level. So due to that, the person was suffering from the abnormalities in the development of the skeletal system. So that condition is known as the achondrogenesis that was occurred due to malfunctions of the Golgi apparatus. So next one is the that is the ribosomopathies, that is the related to the ribosome. So already you know the ribosome is site for photosynthesis. So due to malfunctions, of ribosomes, so there is alterations in the protein synthesis, or it can cause the abnormal management of the proteins. And you know The protein is required for the development and growth, repair, synthesis of hormones in the body. So due to malfunctions of ribosomes, the person was suffering from a condition that was known as the ribosomopathies. So this is the ribosomopathies were responsible for the development of the genetic abnormalities or impair the ribosome biogenesis and function. Due to that, the person is suffering from the various genetic disorders. So next one, so regarding the rule of clinical chemistry laboratory. So what is the need of the clinical laboratories? So what are the rules? So most clinical chemistry tests entail measuring the concentrations of particular constituents, that is analyte in body fluids, and primarily the blood plasma and serum. So these lab, so they are analyze the constituents from the body fluids or from the plasma or from the serum. So due to that, so they are helpful for the diagnosis of the disease or to note down the progress of the disease or to note down the stage of the disease. So that was done with the help of the clinical chemistry laboratory. And also the clinical chemistry laboratory, so they are helpful for to confirm or rejecting the diagnosis. So what are diagnosis done by the medical professional? So with the help of the clinical chemistry laboratory, we are confirm, okay, that diagnosis this is the correct, or also we can reject that diagnosis conditions only with the help of the clinical chemistry laboratory by estimating the analyte level in the body fluids, blood or serum, or by studying the organelle structures with the help of the 3D, 2D or many advanced instruments are there in the clinical chemistry lab. So with the help of there we can confirm or reject the whatever the diagnosis that was made by the medical professionals. And also it can provide the guidelines in the patient management. So whatever you will manage the patient's life, so whether it is the poor or whether achieve the success or whether it is the progression, so that is also is note down with the help of the time to time by subjecting the sample towards the clinical chemistry laboratory. Okay, so then also it is helpful for establishing the prognosis, that is the prognosis nothing but that is the development of therapy or selections of the drugs for to achieve treat the disease, that was known as the prognosis. So that is the one of the main rule of the clinical pharmacist in the area of the development of the therapy, that was known as the prognosis. So how the theory was developed? On the basis of the clinical chemistry result or laboratory. For example, once again in the COVID-19, so they note down C dimer was increases in the COVID-19 patient. It means somewhere the coagulation is occurs. So the doctor, so they can find out the what factors required for to avoid the internal hemorrhage, so that drug they are administered. Okay, so like that, so this laboratories result, so they are helpful for the establishment of the prognosis of therapy. Even they are laboratories, clinical chemistry laboratories, they are helpful for detecting the disease through the case findings and screenings. And also, so they are helpful for to monitoring the flow of therapy. So what is the stage scenario, whether it is the correct or not. So that whatever the therapy is given, so that was also concluded or monitored with the help of the clinical chemistry laboratory. Even in the case of the coma, where the patients are unable to talk, what will be happen with the patient? Okay, whatever the drug you are given, so that was achieve the target or not. So that is also the patient cannot be informed. But with the help of the clinical chemistry laboratory, by subjecting the study of constant the body fluids, blood and plasma before start of treatment, running between the treatment or after the treatment, then it can give the helpful for to monitor the flow of the therapy. So these are the various role of the clinical chemistry laboratories.